This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. But here now is the news for May 15th, 2023. Walt Disney World has announced VIP pass holder. I don't want to say it the other way, but their VI pass holder, I guess, days featuring special limited time offerings for annual pass holders that'll be held in June of 2023. More details will be announced soon, but here's what Disney had to say in the pass holder buzz in the My Disney Experience app. No, it's not your imagination. A new pass holder magnet is coming. Check out the sneak peek video and see if it sparks any guesses as to who will be featured. And if you couldn't figure it out, just based on what I just said, we have problems. Pass holders will have a limited time exclusive space to rest and cool off with dedicated seating, subject to availability, we assume, obviously, at a water park. Pass holders can enjoy increased discounts on select merchandise and dining locations across Walt Disney World, including select EPCOT International Flower and Garden outdoor kitchens. New pass holder exclusive treats will be available for purchase. And pass holders will also get a chance to capture memories of their latest park visit with 2 limited time photo ops. The video isn't currently working because, My Disney Experience app. Obviously, you probably figured out it's Figment. It's going to be Figment. We will let you know more as soon as we do, because as you can imagine, I'm very anxious to have a Figment magnet. As of this week, performances of Happily Ever After at the Magic Kingdom have moved to a slightly later time as the seasons change. From May 14th onward, performances of Happily Ever After will shift from 9 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. nightly as the parks transition to summer. This is the first adjustment of the show's schedule since it returned on April 3rd, following the conclusion of the 50th anniversary and Disney Enchantment. For the moment, showtimes of Epcot Forever and the first performance of Fantasmic will be staying at 9 p.m. We suspect Epcot Forever will not change, as the Epcot nighttime show has almost always been at 9 p.m. Twitter user @BioReconstruct has provided an aerial view of World Celebration construction in the center of Epcot. So let's take a look. The ongoing construction projects include Journey of Water, technically part of World Nature, CommuniCore Hall and Plaza, Dreamers Point, and the gardens and pathways between them. In this view you're looking at now, the Creation Shop and Connections Eatery and Cafe are the large white building on the right. CommuniCore Hall is the smaller building on the left, with an L-shaped set of awnings reaching out that border CommuniCore Plaza. For comparison, here's the concept rendering of World Celebration from Disney. The dense square of trees beyond CommuniCore Hall is Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, but more trees have popped up in the center of World Celebration and its courtyard. We already noted some of the trees planted in a row at the edge of the construction site. Now a small group of trees sits in front of Connections Cafe. On diagonal rows seem to carve a path towards Dreamers Point, which will feature a new Walt the Dreamer statue. A circle of pavement is in the center of the courtyard, possibly where the large planter in the concept art will be. The shape of Dreamers Point is coming together right behind Spaceship Earth as well. Several circular elements are in a grid next to CommuniCore Hall, surrounded by temporary orange-red fencing. Bio suggests that these circles could be the future site of palm trees. In the photo you're looking at now, Bio has added a yellow arrow pointing at a stage in CommuniCore Plaza. The stage is covered by one of the long awnings. In our photos from the monorail, we can get a glimpse of the circular platform beneath the awning. There are also short concrete walls in this area, likely for planters. Flat pavement leads towards the stage, potentially for standing or future seating in front of it. And in another photo, Bio's arrows point towards a section of walkway alongside one of the World Nature ponds. The walkway is blocked by walls of green scrim, but looks clean, so it could reopen soon. It leads to a small building at the back of CommuniCore Hall, which houses the World Nature restrooms that have been closed for over a year now. Obviously, CommuniCore Hall and Plaza are not complete yet. As you can see in the concept art, they promise a facade covered in triangular pieces reminiscent of Spaceship Earth's exterior, but that could be up very soon. Between CommuniCore Hall and the Journey of Water are 3 oblong concrete planters showing the future locations of more gardens. On the other side of Journey of Water, a walkway has already opened, leading guests almost to the future site of Dreamers Point before hitting construction walls and being forced to turn. Journey of Water itself is scheduled to open this fall, but looks like it's mostly completed at this point. The center of World Celebration is set to house several gardens with rotating displays inspired by different Epcot festivals. Rounded concrete walls indicate the shapes of some of these gardens. Concept art shows light-up pylons around the center circle of the courtyard, and it also shows examples of potential displays and where they might sit. And of course, the return of light-up pavement to Epcot, something we've all been waiting for. Several trees have been planted in the construction area outside guest relations on the far right in the photo you're looking at now. But again, it seems like construction is picking up at EPCOT. It seems like we are inching towards the finish line, and they've said fall several times. But if we want to think about this for a second, the EPCOT International Food and Wine Festival was pushed back from the start date it's had the last few years. The start date the last few years was July 15th. It'll now start, I believe, July 29th, towards the end of July. So that's 2 weeks, about 2 weeks later. All of this looks pretty far along. That would be 2.5 months from now. My theory is they're going to try to have all this ready for food and wine. Obviously, that's not, July is not fall, but I could see it. I could see it. That being said, I mean, Disney has not hit a deadline construction-wise in a very long time, so anything could go wrong and delay this, and it could actually open in the fall. I just think it would be weird for it to open mid-festival, unless I think either it's July 29th or it's the start of the Festival of the Holidays, and there's no middle ground, I think. But it sure would be nice to open a water play area in July in Central Florida. That would be a good idea. Speaking of water play areas, and while the Journey of Water is still not set to open until later this year, the walkthrough attraction is getting closer to completion as we now see its first entry signage. Thanks again to BioReconstruct, we get a look at the attraction's entrance, where the first of the warning and entry signs have been installed. Unfortunately, the image is not super clear, at least clear enough to make out what the sign says in details, but it's a number of accessibility warnings and such. Obviously, being a walkthrough attraction, there is no height requirement and thus no height indicator to install. According to Bob Iger, Journey of Water inspired by Moana is the last step in the years-long EPCOT reimagining, along with Dreamers Point, CommuniCore Hall, and CommuniCore Plaza. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WDWNT and the team will design your next magical vacation. From the Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resorts to Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and more. They're even able to book you an unforgettable VIP tour where you and your group can experience the ultimate park day. And the best part about all this is their concierge services are 100% free. So book today. The Disney Vacation Club kiosk that has been behind walls in EPCOT for several months has finally reopened with a new look. The kiosk is located to your right as you pass through the breezeway, going to World Discovery after leaving World Celebration. The kiosk is branded with the Disney Vacation Club logo, as you might imagine, on a bright red background. The kiosk is gray and with black and red accents to match all of the other World Discovery items that have gotten that color scheme in the last few months. There's a small stand that we assume will allow a cast member to work the booth answering questions about DVC. They weren't there on our visit, but a number of guests were sitting on those benches and using the charging ports there to charge their devices. But if there isn't anyone there, you could also just scan the QR code on the back wall for more information. Also features a big map with DVC locations where you can use your points all around the world. Meanwhile, the Cool Wash at EPCOT has officially become the refreshment station again, as its refurbishment seems close to completion. Cool Wash has been closed since at least August of 2022, and by September, the signage had been removed and the interior had been gutted. In October, the refreshment station sign was added, but it was quickly removed for some reason. Since then, construction has been slow going as crews were focused on other projects, we guess. But things have picked up again, and the refreshment station sign is back on the structure. Sign matches the new style of all that signage around EPCOT with those rounded letters and a red border for the World Discovery neighborhood. A nearby popcorn stand got a similar update recently as well. Behind the fence and rolling planters, we can see that the new items have been moved into the station. At the back, behind a white bar, are the slushy machines, and blacktop tables and white benches have been installed under the shaded structure as well. Cool Wash previously only had standing temporary tables. What we're looking at now is what it looked like back in October of 2020. The floor has been completely ripped out and redone. Of course, it used to be kind of a water play area slash slushy location. It was a weird mix. But now clearly they have that just a few steps away. They have what has become a permanent festival kiosk. And my guess is that they need some place for people to rest and sit while they enjoy that. And then during the summer months, a slushy kiosk will operate. That being said, I think I've seen that slushy stand open on very few days, even during years where it was busy or particularly hot. So it's interesting that they spent money to restore the slushy stand. And I don't know, maybe it'll be open more often now. We'll see what happens. The merchandise kiosks lining the walkway between World Celebration and World Showcase at Epcot have been refurbished and look like they're being prepared to reopen. The bridge, of course, connects World Celebration, formerly part of Future World, to World Showcase at Epcot. Before the pandemic, the walkway was lined with these two merchandise kiosks, one on either side. Since reopening, since the pandemic, these kiosks have remained closed. But as of now, they have had their oversized canopies removed from the rooftops and have been repainted. You could see even some of the paint is still drying as they have some walls up around the pillars. It would appear they're being prepared to reopen in the future. Will they be merchandise kiosks? Are they going to be some sort of beer? You may remember in the original plan for the center of Epcot, there was a beer garden. Wasn't really announced, but it was in the art. And then it kind of vanished. And so the question is, are these coming back as merchandise kiosks, or are they going to become essentially part of that beer garden? We'll have to wait and see what happens. New dinner menu items have landed at Space 220 restaurant at Epcot. The new appetizers include seafood cannelloni rockets, which is shrimp, scallops, snapper, saffron cream sauce, and salmon caviar, and chives. A Neptuna tartare, sushi grade yellowfin tuna, avocado crema, mango coulis, edamame, wonton crisp, and yuzu dressing on that. There's a roasted asparagus soup, which has jumbo lump crab meat, roasted poblano and red peppers, citrus chili oil, and a crouton. For the entrees, they have a tomahawk pork chop, which is slow-roasted 16-ounce Neiman Ranch pork chop, corn flan, succotash, spiced applesauce as well. There's then a pan-roasted swordfish ciappino, which is shrimp, little neck clams, Prince Edward Island mussels, tomato fennel seafood broth, and a toasted garlic bread. For new desserts, there's a vanilla bean Greek yogurt parfait. It's black sesame crumble, yuzu curd, macerated blackberries, basil, and a blackberry sauce. For the kids' menu, there is a cosmic cupcake. There's then a chocolate vegan devil's food cake topped with vanilla frosting and galactic sprinkles, a Fruity Pebbles cereal rocket pop, also for kids, and which is Fruity Pebbles marshmallow and a chocolate rocket. And don't feel left out, adults. You have a new cocktail for you called the Illumination, which maybe it's a reference to Illuminations. I don't know. It's $18. It's Bacardi, Malibu, passion fruit, blood orange, pineapple, lime sour, and passion fruit boba. Removed from the item at Space 220, they have the Galaxy grain salad, the Supreme chicken breast, and the Space glazed duck breast. Those are good removals. Those are probably the only items we didn't like. You may remember we went very early this year, I believe, when they changed the menu, and we gave it an overwhelmingly positive review. There were a couple of things we were like, they could change this and that. And it seems like they now have, so maybe we'll have to go back over there. They've been up and down. When they first opened, we loved Space 220. We went back, it was inedible, and then last visit, we thought it was the best restaurant at Epcot. So definitely worth a try. Over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the newly reimagined Pixar Place has opened between Walt Disney Presents and Toy Story Land. When the gates opened first thing in the morning, Edna Mode was there to greet us and other guests. Pixar Place has some mature trees that line the walkway and is now full of Pixar theming and Easter eggs. These bright Pixar-themed painted walls serve as backdrops for photos during meet and greet interactions with characters. That's towards the very back of the area. The PX86 is a clever reference to the year Pixar was founded, 1986. The A113 is an Easter egg found in many Pixar films that references a classroom at the California Institute of the Arts, or CalArts, specifically a classroom used by graphic design and character animation students. Of course, many alumni of CalArts went on to work at Disney and Pixar, including John Lasseter, Brad Bird, Tim Burton, current Pixar chief Pete Docter, Henry Selick, and more. One of the returning offerings is the Edna Mode Experience, where guests can have a photo op with Edna Mode from The Incredibles. The queue, of course, an homage to Edna's greatest achievements in superhero fashion design, and then you get to meet her. We also got a chance to meet, from Monsters, Inc., James P. Sullivan, otherwise known as Sully. He's there towards the back of the area. And then The Incredibles are there as well. We saw Frozone and then Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. Of course, before Toy Story Land was added to Hollywood Studios, Pixar Place was an area of the park where guests could enter Toy Story Midway Mania and also find meet and greet photo ops for Buzz and Woody. And then when Toy Story Land was complete, all of that moved to the other side, and they turned this area into Municiburg for an incredible celebration. With COVID-19, that was abandoned, and they just started to open it either for extended queue for Toy Story Land attractions or in some cases, just shade and extra space for people to hang out at Hollywood Studios. But now it's back as a guest area that's actually functional, which is a good thing. The perfect picnic basket popcorn bucket is now available at Walt Disney World Resort after first debuting at Mickey's Toontown in Disneyland. It's available at Hollywood Studios again starting today, May 15th. It'll actually be at those popcorn kiosks towards the center of the park around the Chinese Theater, all around the middle area there. It's $25. Unlike at Disneyland, it comes with popcorn. That's right, we called it a popcorn bucket, even though at Disneyland it's not. Disneyland, it holds various snack foods. Also at Disneyland, you could buy an actual special blanket, which you could throw down. That is not available at Walt Disney World. We have not seen it yet. But again, you get the bucket for $25 with popcorn now at Hollywood Studios. New Disney 100 branded Coca-Cola bottles are now available at the Walt Disney World Resort. We picked them up from the coolers at the World of Disney store at Disney Springs. The bottle's wrap features a Mickey head and starburst with other purple, white, and silver touches. Kind of matches the Coca-Cola cups you'll get at counter service locations. The logo is beneath, the 100 logo is beneath the Coca-Cola logo. The same design on the standard Coke bottles is also on the zero sugar bottles as well. Disney has announced an opening timeline for World of Frozen at Hong Kong Disneyland. That's not just a season. They announced a month. The new land will open in November of 2023. So now we know a month we're going. Still don't know a date. The land, of course, will have its own version of Frozen Ever After, plus 2 new attractions, including Wandering Oaken sliding sleighs and the Playhouse in the Woods. The former is a roller coaster through the mountains. We had a preview of that last week, you may remember. Arendelle World of Frozen will also have several shops and restaurants. Cast member costumes and ride vehicle maquettes for the land were displayed at D23 Expo last year. But now we are just mere months away from its opening. Speaking of Hong Kong, this week, documentation released by the Hong Kong government revealed that even after several new attractions, a new themed land, and an overhaul of the park's castle, only half of the funds allocated to the park's massive expansion have been spent. The documentation was released as part of the preparation for an upcoming meeting of the Hong Kong Legislative Council's Panel on Economic Development, part of which includes an annual update on Hong Kong Disneyland, as the government owns a majority stake in the park. This segment of the meeting will take place on May 22nd from 10:50 a.m. to 11:40 a.m. Hong Kong time as part of a 90-minute meeting of the panel. In the documentation, an update is given on the expansion first approved in 2017 following a question by the legislator, the Honorable Pui Leng Chen. The total project cost of the plan is estimated at $10.9 billion, being funded by both shareholders of Hong Kong Disneyland, being the government, and the Walt Disney Company, and that will be equal stakes, so half and half on that investment of all those billions of dollars. Of course, Hong Kong Disneyland has been actively implementing the plan. Various new attractions have been rolled out progressively since 2018, including Moana, a homecoming celebration stage show in Adventureland, the Ant-Man and the Wasp Nano Battle Ride in 2019, the Castle of Magical Dreams in 2020, and the Follow Your Dreams daytime show in 2021. As of the end of March of 2022, the government and the Walt Disney Company have only each invested about $2.5 billion each. So obviously there is plenty more to spend. This means as of last year, only 44% of the earmarked money had been spent by both Disney and the government. The amount also represents other significant investments, such as the development of the momentous Nighttime Spectacular and much of the development and construction of World of Frozen, which will open in November. As well, it leaves plenty of room to expand the still fledgling park. Of course, an Avengers e-ticket attraction was planned for Tomorrowland years ago, but never made it to construction. That was abandoned. This is really interesting. They abandoned that Avengers e-ticket pretty much when the riots started happening. You may remember that was a bit before COVID, year and a half before maybe. There was a big downturn in travel there. I remember when I went in January of 2020, I think might have been a couple hundred people in the park. Attendance was real low. As of recent, since they've reopened at least 6 days a week, attendance has supposedly been very good, which is a great sign. It's a very cute park in a beautiful location, and I am hopeful that they will invest the rest of that money they plan to invest. Frozen is a great start. The park needs more to do, for sure. And there is a big abandoned plot now in Tomorrowland where some of the Autopia used to sit. So I don't know if they'll end up doing a different Marvel attraction or what. Maybe it'll be that multiverse ride they're doing at DCA. We'll have to wait and see, but it's good. It's good to see that the future's still bright for Hong Kong Disneyland. But more to talk about in that vein. Disney's Hollywood Hotel at Hong Kong Disney Resort will reopen in mid-July after a refurbishment that included the lobby and 2 of the restaurants. The concept art here shows the entrance of the Ink and Plate, an art-inspired retro restaurant. Judging by the round entrance, Ink and Plate is replacing Chef Mickey. The concept art shows the updated lobby with a darker color palette than before. The lobby previously had a blue-based color scheme featuring teal columns and a Hollywood mural. This art shows brown columns, dark red chairs, and dark green sofas with different artwork on the walls. Another piece of concept art shows an upscale restaurant with golden seats and a bar. This appears to be an updated studio lounge. The new Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse statue, first announced at the D23 Expo last year, will be installed at Hong Kong Disneyland. We now know when. It'll be in October of 2023. Disney also released new concept art of the statue, which is named Dream Makers. It'll sit next to the Cinderella Carousel, honoring the moment when Walt, sitting on a bench and watching his daughters on a merry-go-round, dreamed up the idea for Disneyland. The statue is being installed as part of the Disney 100 Years of Wonder celebration ongoing all around the world. The House of Mouse, Bob Iger, and the Fight for the Soul of Disney, an upcoming book by Wall Street Journal's Robbie Whelan, has sold preemptively to HarperCollins imprint William Morrow. Matthew Bologna announced the sale via the Puck newsletter, and Whelan posted about the news on Friday. While the book's current title is again The House of Mouse, Bob Iger, and the Fight for the Soul of Disney, Bologna also referred to it as the Bob vs. Bob book, implying it will heavily focus on the relationship between Bob Iger and Bob Chapek. Quote, a lot of people say that Bob Iger is the most talented media executive of all time, but until now, no one has taken on the project of putting his legacy under a journalistic lens, said Whelan. Obviously, we knew this was going to be a book. I think I said it jokingly when Bob Chapek was fired last year. But no one's contacted me for an interview, so I don't know how accurate this book's going to be if it's missing some of Bob Chapek's greatest exploits. Either way, I will be reading it. I'm looking forward to this very, very much. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.